Good morning, guys. It is Friday morning. Um, TGIF, yay! So I survived. Well, still have to get through today. It's only 6 a.m. right now. Um, Kids will be showing up in about half an hour. But I survived the first week of my daycare being reopened. Just barely, but I'm still here. And don't get me wrong, with all my, you know, complaining about it, I feel very grateful that I was able to reopen my daycare. Given that so many are losing their jobs right now, um, I'm very grateful that I was able to open up again. I could definitely use prayers though for strength, uh, just physical strength, um, just to keep doing this. I'm back to working 13 and a half hours a day where you're constantly moving, and I feel it. So, and it kind of sucks. I had gotten away from those kinds of hours, but as I said, I think in one of my previous videos, I had to go back to these hours to be able to reopen, because these are the hours that the parents need. Um, it's a lot. It takes its toll on you. Um, I'm up at 5. I am usually in bed between 8 and 9, and it leaves no time for me, for really doesn't leave any time for dating or um, and there was someone that I was sort of starting to talk to, but I squashing that because I'm just too tired, and it's not fair to do that to someone else either, um, given the hours that I work, I can't commit, and by the time I'm off on the weekend, I'm just tired. The only thing I want to do is hang around the house. you know I did make a point of inviting my sister and her husband down this weekend, and my friend over. We're gonna cook out tomorrow night, and just gonna kind of try to relax and not think about the clock or um, anything. I've got my coffee here, my cappuccino coffee. And just try to relax tomorrow night. Um, Tonight, as much as I want to try to stay up just to get a few extra hours to myself, I'm probably gonna be exhausted. But I'll be drinking coffee today because I haven't been able to practice my piano at all this week, and that upsets me. And I have been working on my novel though, just a little bit each morning. Um, I'm making this video this morning though because something happens to me about this time every year. My dad's birthday. Now, for those of you that don't really know or understand, usually if I say, so okay, I have my dad, my biological dad, Daddy. Um, then I have my stepdad, Fred. So usually I'll call my dad, usually Daddy, and Fred, Dad, to distinguish between the two. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to say my Daddy, the one that created, with my mom. Anyway, it's confusing. But anyway, so his birthday is October 18th. And I don't know why, but for some reason, his birthday affects me more than March the 9th. which is the day he passed away. But generally, from October 18th to March the 9th, I'm kind of on this up and down, where, because Christmas Day was the last day that I spent with him, and I saw him. So there's a whole lot that went on during this few months, and I kind of sort of mentally relived those months. And it never ceases to amaze me how, even though I've written 2 books about grief, and I counsel many others, from my Facebook group about grief. It seems like it's harder to help myself. I feel like it's easier for me to talk to other people than it is for me to talk to myself, and help myself. For that, I heavily rely on God. It's been 17 years since Daddy passed away. But there are some days that just, for some reason, his birthday, October 18th, really impacts my emotions more. And, in the days leading up to it, I become very emotionally sensitive. Like this morning, it was like a little bit after 4:30 this morning, and my mind just started wandering, and then the next thing I know, I'm tearing up. So I was like, let me just go ahead and get up and get my day started. So there's a lot of things that happen, and I think part of the reason that I am affected so much by it, there's a lot of things that happened around, when he passed, that has never sat well with me, and that hasn't really allowed for any real closure. My parents divorced, and so the woman that he was married to, he was only married to her for a few years, and then she passed away a year later. But I really started noticing in the last year of their marriage, they really weren't getting along. Like, it seemed like they couldn't stand each other. And I was really worried about him when I left him that last Christmas Day. He really didn't want me to leave, but I was married then, and my husband needed to get, he had to work, so we needed to get back home. And we weren't there. No one was there when he passed away. We only can go on what his wife told us. And, this is the story. Now, my dad had heart issues and had a quadruple bypass some years before that, and was on medication. 2 weeks before he passed, he was working on his church, and this board came down and hit him. Now, the entire board was filled with nails except for the one area that hit him in the back of the head, and it knocked him to his knees. I begged him to go see a doctor to make sure everything was okay, and he didn't go. I tell you that because I think it might have played a part in how he died, but I don't know. His then wife said that now, you'll see why I say this doesn't make any sense. So my dad built a bathroom onto the end of their home. He built it. He installed everything. So she said that he was working on the shower. She was in the back in that bathroom, and my dad was cleaning his paint gun because he was about to go work on the church and paint on the church. And she said that the shower came on and wouldn't come off, wouldn't turn off. So she calls my dad back there, and he goes back there, and he gets in the tub, and he said the shower, according, not him, according to her, she said the shower was continuing to get hotter and hotter, and then was coming out through, I guess, one of the faucets straight at my dad, and his wife was worried about all the water that was getting on the floor. This is all according to her. She said that my dad was on his knees in the shower trying to hold back the water, which was continuing to get hotter and hotter. She said that he asked her, to hand him, because she was fussing about the water on the floor, she said, and that he, moved the shower curtain around him so the water wouldn't get on the floor. And then she said all of a sudden he just laid his head on the side of the tub. Now, this, according to her, he didn't fall down, he didn't clutch his chest, he just laid his head down on the side of the tub and was gone. I have issue with, she said he couldn't figure out how to turn the water off. He built that bathroom. He knew where the shut-off valve was. So that's my first issue with that story. My second issue is that instead of calling 911, these are by her own words, she called my dad's sister, who lived basically across the street from them. And she comes over. It was like 30 minutes before they ever even called 911. And then when they got there, she said they worked on him for about 10 minutes. It had been 30 minutes already before they even called 911. So, and they lived out in, it's like one of those real rural areas. So I imagine it took the ambulance some time to get there. So, and then the day of his funeral, she says to me, if he has a red mark on his forehead, it's from where his head hit the side of the tub. And I said, I thought you said he just laid his head down on the side of the tub. And she didn't respond to that. She didn't have an answer for that. So I asked the funeral director, I'm like, hey, as his daughter, I'm asking you to please close the casket. I never wanted, now my sister she went and viewed his body, but I didn't want that memory in my head. I wanted my last memory of him to be of the Christmas day, the last time I saw him. I didn't ever want a memory in my head of him laying in a casket. So, and I don't regret that decision. But, so there are a few things about what happened that really bother me. No one knows really what happened. So I don't feel like I ever got real closure on that. Could he have been saved? I don't know. He passed away at 2 in the afternoon. Nobody told me until 9 o'clock that night. We didn't have any say in how his funeral was planned. We had like 2 days to get there. Literally, she had his funeral 2 days later. Didn't ask us about anything, what we wanted for him. We knew what he wanted. We weren't asked. His things weren't given to us. I have a few things that belong to him because he gave them to me a couple of months before he passed away. It was just, and the really other odd thing about it is that a month before he passed away, I had a dream. I've always had these dreams that seem to come true in one form or another, but a month before he passed, I had this dream that he died, and I dreamt about his funeral and everything, and the eerie part is that his funeral and all happened exactly as I dreamt it, down to the little headstone that was placed. There was so much disrespect towards us, like we didn't count. They never asked us anything. The planning, nothing. We were barely given. I lived in Tennessee. The funeral was in North Carolina. We literally had to drive straight through, had a flat tire on the way. We got there the morning of the funeral. We were exhausted, heartbroken, and no one asked us diddly about it. They should have given us more time. There's just so much that went on that was not right. And now, instead of my dad being buried up here where the rest of his family is, he is buried in a little, literally off the side of the road, family plot that her family owned, while she is now buried in a really nice cemetery next to her first husband. So for a long time, for the entire first year after his death, I was angry. Oh, I was so angry. Nobody could talk to me and say anything to me. I was so mad. And that's when I started writing my first book. And tried to focus on trying to help others with their grief, believing that that was going to help me. And it did. And I don't feel that anger anymore, but I do always feel like there's always going to be something about that, questions that I'll never have answers to. So I think, in part for that reason, the time of his birthday really gets to me, it really bothers me. And I just tried to keep doing what he told. He wrote a letter and left it to us, and my part of the letter told me to stay the way I am and keep helping people. And which is another reason I wrote the books. And so it's also why I have my daycare. Also, and I'm trying. But around the time of his birthday, I get, in the days leading up to it, I get like this. I get really emotionally sensitive. And so I'm making this video this morning because I feel like I need prayers for strength. I need just some peace, and I don't want to spend this year like I do every year at this time, barely able to function and just feeling so emotionally drained, from it, especially with daycare just opening back up again and all. I need my strength for that. I have just a handful of subscribers, and I really want to just take a moment to thank you. I'm not what you call a big YouTuber. Don't even consider myself a YouTuber. I'm definitely not in this to get monetized. I'm definitely not in this to make any money or gain any kind of fame or recognition. I do videos on things that mean something to me, and videos that I think and pray can help other people. And that's why I do this, and that's why every single subscriber means so much to me, because though we are few, it means that you care about what I have to say, and you're supporting me and what I'm trying to do, and that's just to help other people. That's it. It's the only reason I do this. I gain nothing from this. I don't care. I just want to do what my dad has told me to do and keep helping other people. Um, in this video, however, I do need to ask you for prayers for strength. And I need to go now because I've got 10 minutes before the daycare kids start showing up, and I still have a few things to get done. You guys, God bless, and take care of yourself, and I will talk to you again. At some point during the weekend, I will do another narcissistic recovery video. Let me know what topic you guys would like for me to cover. Right? God bless.